with a unique program called New Start Financing. In just the past several months, we've helped hundreds of people like you reestablish their credit with payments as low as $99 a month for used and new vehicles. Best of all, we guarantee to offer you financing. New Start Financing from Hillsborough, Chrysler, Plymouth, and Jeep. We guarantee to offer you financing. Call now.
Sports Tonight with Fred and Vince, 11 Eastern on CNN.
It's Wednesday, December 29th, 1999. Tonight on NewsStand. As the world prepares for a festive New Year's Eve, U.S. officials take last-minute precautions for a safe one amid new fears of anti-American terrorist operations.
We are prepared to respond just like we would for any other natural disaster or any other emergency situation.
We'll tell you what's being done to ensure your safety at home and abroad. The millennium's almost here, and CNN correspondents around the globe are getting ready to cover the party of the century. Tonight, a behind-the-scenes preview of CNN's worldwide millennium coverage. A look at religion in the 20th century. Did it divide us or bring us together?
There's nothing wrong with organized religion if you are an open-minded person and an intelligent person and you use your faith in a productive way and in a loving way.
Our Millennium Roundtable continues. CNN Newsstand with anchors Judd Rose in New York and Judy Woodruff in Washington.
Good evening and welcome to Newsstand. Judd and Judy are off tonight. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington.
And I'm Darren Kagan in Atlanta. Our top story, countdown to Millennium 2000. We'll be going live to preparations around the world, including Hong Kong, Moscow, Jerusalem, New York City, and Washington.
It's an unhappy fact, but the fear of possible terrorist attacks is affecting just about everybody's plans for Y2K celebrations. A primary symbol of the heightened concerns, Algerian Ahmed Rassam, arrested at a border crossing between Washington State and Canada 2 weeks ago and charged with smuggling explosives. Experts now tell CNN the car Rassam brought into the United States allegedly contained all the components needed to make a large chain reaction bomb. Meantime, CNN has learned Canadian law enforcement authorities will meet with FBI Director Louis Freeh and other U.S. officials tomorrow here in Washington. On the agenda, coordinating counterterrorism strategy and assessing border security procedures. Authorities will also review the investigation triggered by Rassam's arrest, including the manhunt for an alleged accomplice, Abdulmajid Dahumani.
A terrorist attack is probably the grimmest of the what-if scenarios for which U.S. authorities have rehearsed in advance of New Year's, but there are many other potential emergencies on their agendas. The president's top Y2K expert says the federal government is ready.
All emergency operations centers in the federal government are operating and monitoring status reports in their sectors. All states are online.
More now on getting ready for Y2K from CNN's Eric Hong.
A sign of the Y2K times. In Colorado, a gun shop caused a stir after putting up this hard-to-miss banner. Store employees say it sparked an immediate 40% increase in gun sales.
We really don't feel that there's going to be any problems, but we support people's right to be prepared.
Nationwide, the FBI reports a surge in background checks for firearm purchases this month, but stopped short of pinning it on Y2K fears. Gun shop owners point to the strong economy, a busy holiday season, and pending litigation that could make purchases more difficult after January 1st.
$14.48 is your change.
All right.
Also doing brisk business, supply stores. While federal officials report no problems with hoarding, retail chains say demand is high for flashlights, lanterns, and generators. Power companies are confident those items won't be needed. But in Jacksonville, Florida, many are not so sure after 5,000 customers of Jacksonville Electric Authority received past due payment notices in the mail. The due date listed, January 3rd, 1900. Officials say they accidentally installed outdated billing software and insist they are Y2K compliant.
We think it was just kind of a fluky thing that happened.
But if the unexpected does occur, federal emergency officials say they're ready. FEMA has set up 10 regional response centers across the country, staffed around the clock.
So I'm happy to report to you today and to the American people today that FEMA is prepared,
that FEMA is ready, that FEMA is confident.
Confident, like virtually all federal agencies, that Y2K will pose few problems, but prepared for the worst in case those predictions turn out to be wrong. Eric Hong, CNN.
CNN is gearing up for comprehensive coverage of Y2K. We kick off 100 hours of globe-spanning coverage at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, Friday, December 31st. We'll be covering 25 time zones with almost 60 correspondents in the field. Celebrations will start in the South Pacific on Kiribati, also known as Millennium Island. From there, we'll track the arrival of the new year hour by hour around the world, ending with an aloha from Honolulu, Hawaii.
New York City is one of the places planning to party hardy in the celebration of the new millennium, but the Big Apple is also taking some major security precautions. Joining us with details from Times Square are Gary Tuckman. An early Happy New Year to you, Gary.
Darren, Happy New Year to you also. Here's some trivia for you. In a millennium, there are 8,776,000 hours. And now, on the east coast of the United States, we are down to the final 50 hours of this millennium. And they will use those 50 hours wisely here in Times Square as they prepare for what they're calling the party of all time, the biggest one ever. They are expecting up to 2 million people to be standing on the streets behind me on Friday to usher in the new millennium, to usher in the 21st century, the year 2000. And they expect people from all around the world. Behind me, the famous One Times Square building. On top of that building right now, you can see the famous New Year's ball. This is a Waterford crystal ball, a special ball made just for the millennium. It has 500 crystal triangles. It weighs over 1,000 pounds. It's 6 feet in diameter. And right now they're doing practice runs with the ball down that 77-foot flagpole. And on the bottom of the flagpole is a sign that says 2000, and that's what will light up at midnight Friday night here in New York City to commemorate the new year. The celebration here in Times Square will be the most elaborate ever. It will last 24 hours, but it will also be the most security conscious ever. The mayor of the city says despite talk about terrorism, there has not been any consideration of canceling this event. Manhole covers have been welded shut, mailboxes will be locked, garbage cans will be taken away, and cameras have been installed, all for security reasons. But Mayor Rudy Giuliani says there have been no specific threats, that this is being done just to be careful and to be cautious.
We are literally doing everything we possibly can to make it as safe as we can make it, understanding that we can't evaluate everything, we can't know everything. There are imponderables and there are risks in life that, with the best planning, you know, are things you can't guard against. We've gone over our plan. We've gone over it again and again and again. We went over it today. We think it's a good one.
Many of you might be saying that Times Square is the last place in the world you'd want to be on New Year's Eve, that it's too wild and crazy and dangerous. But actually, over the last decade, it's statistically been one of the safest places to be in a city that's gotten increasingly safe over the years. They're going to have 8,000 police officers in this square, and alcohol is banned, which also helps make it safer. The party of the millennium is right around the corner. Darren, back to you.
Gary, you told us about 2 million people they guesstimate will show up. What if a lot more than that do? Are there any measures to get ready if too many people show up? How to turn them away?
Well, they have a great system in plan here, Darren. What they do is they cordon off block by block, and they have basically pens. And when a pen is filled up, they go a block farther and fill it in. And what they plan on doing, they can have an unlimited amount of people. They'll just keep going farther and farther to the north in this city. Right now, they plan on having people standing between 43rd and 59th Street. That's 16 blocks. That's a little less than a mile. But they say if they have more people than that, they'll just extend it further north, and they'll keep it going as long as people show up for it.
Just keep going. And I know you'll be there among them. Gary Tuckman in Times Square. We look forward to seeing you there. And NewsStand will be back right after this.
It's the party of the century. CNN correspondents continue their millennium coverage when NewsStand returns.
Ever wonder why the Sunday paper is so huge? Could it be because we have more free time on Sunday? Now Sprint gives a little free phone time on Sunday, too. Now when you get Sprint Nickel Nights, not only do you get 5-cent calling every night, but you get an hour of calling every Sunday night for free. Read the paper all day, talk on the phone all night. Sounds like a perfectly sensible plan to me. Switch to Sprint at 1-800-PIN-DROP.
Posted pop-up notes pop up one at a time from the handy dispenser. Now you'll always know where your Post-it notes are. So you won't go nuts looking for nuts. Posted pop-up notes. And now look for these new dispensers in cool colors. Another 3M innovation.
Friday on the Emmy Award-winning Larry King Live. We'll have a millennium's worth of guests throughout December. Friday, Larry's special guests are His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the Reverend Billy Graham. It's a millennium month of guests. Friday, 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
Log on to CNN.com. It's more than just breaking news. It's information you can use. Get the latest on movies, music, TV, and book reviews from around the world to your desktop, wherever you are. It's all at CNN.com.
It's the biggest story of the year, the century, the millennium. And who better to cover it than CNN? With 60 of its top correspondents in key locations around the world, CNN will usher in the new year live from every time zone on the planet, bringing you the global celebrations, reporting any and all Y2K events, examining the big issues that lie ahead. Millennium 2000, 100 hours of non-stop coverage beginning New Year's Eve on CNN.
New Year's Eve is still 2 days away here in the United States, but as we just saw in New York, police departments are busy gearing up for the celebrations. Here in the nation's capital, some major streets around the mall already are closed. That's the site of a mega concert and fireworks Friday at midnight. Police say it'll be late Sunday before those streets are reopened. As government leaders have been telling us for weeks, their agencies are supposedly ready. In case something should go wrong anywhere in the world, Pentagon officials say they'll know about it from this command center. Also monitoring Y2K events in this country will be officials at the Information Coordination Center, or ICC. That center was established by the President's Council on year 2000 conversion. And tonight it's where we find our Kathleen Koch. Kathleen, what are they doing over there?
Well, this is essentially the nation's Y2K nerve center, and it's from here that the U.S. government will be monitoring events across the country and around the globe, looking for any potential Y2K glitches, and they could be very difficult to diagnose. For example, if a multitude of elevators by the very same manufacturer jam up at the same moment in a particular country, then experts tell us that that could be a clear sign that a Y2K glitch is at play. However, for other things like date-sensitive embedded chips that are embedded inside computers, if those go wrong, diagnosing and fixing that could take weeks, perhaps as much as a month. And well, as you said, the federal government believes that it is practically 100% Y2K ready, but it is taking some precautions. On New Year's Eve, some of the federal government websites will basically shut down, websites like that at the Office of Personnel Management, to avoid hackers or any Y2K glitches that are sort of traveling across the globe. Another special precaution that's being taken by the Federal Reserve Bank, it has printed up an additional $50 billion in cash. That ups the nation's cash reserve to some $200 billion. It's enough for every family, if they needed to withdraw some $2,000. Now, that is squirreled away not just in federal banks, but also in some 70 secret sites around the country, ready to be sent out at any moment to any bank that has need of that extra cash. One area, though, that there is a great deal of concern is the whole issue of self-reporting, especially in the private sector. The Senate Y2K committee was very concerned that a lot of companies haven't really double-checked, had anyone from the outside come in and double-check their actual readiness, their computer's readiness for Y2K. So, for example, small healthcare providers. The Y2K committee says there's a great concern that they may not be ready for Y2K. So, come the stroke of midnight, New Year's Eve, we may be all taking a very giant leap of faith. Wolf.
Kathleen, you've been talking to officials, experts. Is there any particular time that is of greatest concern to the U.S. officials?
There are a couple of moments that they're going to be watching very carefully. There is 6 a.m. That's the point when New Zealand hits midnight. They're the first industrialized country, and they're being seen as sort of the canary in the Y2K coal mine. If something goes wrong there, that's something clearly for officials here in the United States to watch out for. Another very important time will be 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That is when the nation's air traffic control system switches to the new year. Also, it's the time when a third of the nation's electric grid switches to midnight, and a lot of the embedded processors in telecommunications equipment also operates on Greenwich Mean Time or Zulu time. So if any problems might occur here in the United States, we could see them as early as 7 o'clock.
Okay, Kathleen Koch reporting from the Y2K Information Center. Thanks for joining us. Darren?
Observers from both the U.S. and Russia will see in the new year in Colorado, and they aren't there for the skiing. Instead, they'll be watching the skies and missile early warning systems. A special center for Y2K strategic stability has been set up at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs. Our national correspondent Tony Clark is standing by. He's there. Tony, good evening.
Good evening, Darren. You know, just back during the Cold War, what's happening here at Peterson Air Force Base would have been unthinkable just a couple of decades ago during the Cold War. But you have to remember that even at the end of the Cold War and the friendlier relationship between the United States and the former Soviet Union, the United States still has some 550 land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles. They also have nuclear-tipped missiles that are sea-based. And there are another 1,000 or so missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles that Russia has that could be targeted towards the United States. And so those two nations working together want to assure that no computer glitch makes one think the other is launching an attack against them. That's why the Center for the Year 2000 Strategic Stability was set up. It will officially open tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's when teams of Americans and Russians will sit side by side watching monitors, watching for a possible launch anywhere in the world. The teams will be 2 Americans, 2 Russians, and 2 translators working in 8-hour shifts. They're in a $4.5 million new facility. It's 1,200 square foot with computers and monitors. And inside there, they will get data on any kind of a launch or material that may be falling from space. The information will include where the material is coming from, where it is headed, and whether it is a missile or what other type object it might be. The data is coming from 10 miles away from the NORAD facility inside Cheyenne Mountain here at Colorado Springs. Cheyenne Mountain is an outgrowth of the Cold War. Excavation inside the mountain began in 1961. The facility opened in 1966. It is 4.5 acres. It's a granite bunker inside the mountain. It's about 1,700 feet below the summit of the mountain. There are 3-foot thick, 25-ton steel blast doors that guard the facility. The facility is steel rooms built on springs, initially designed to withstand a thermonuclear blast. And there, officials man it 24 hours a day. They're able to use information from satellites, radars, and sensors around the world to determine whether or not a missile has been launched anywhere in the world. During the Gulf War, they were able to determine when Scud missiles were launched, and so they can check, and they are then sharing that information with the individuals, the teams that are down here at Peterson Air Force Base. The facility itself is self-sustaining. As I say, it's inside a mountain. It could maintain 800 people for 30 days with enough food, water, and air to keep them going. Key times to watch for on the 31st are 4 o'clock Eastern Time. That's when the clocks in Moscow roll over, and 7 o'clock Eastern Time. That is midnight Greenwich Mean Time. And so those are going to be key times to watch for. And Darren, a special treat in store for us tomorrow night. We're going to take our live camera inside the command center, inside the mountain, and it will be the first look, first live TV look that the public will have inside America's early warning system. Darren?
Tony Clark, looking forward to that. We'll see it tomorrow night on NewsStand right here on CNN.
See you then.
Meanwhile, still ahead tonight, a live report from a city that saw the last millennium and the one before that. Jerusalem is among our destinations. Also ahead, the big news and bigger than ever numbers from Wall Street.
Hello? Michael? Coming. Hi.
Oh, made a little extra.
I guess you heard Barbara was away.
Visiting Katie at college.
Yep.
First year, huh? How's Matt?
Made the dean's list.
Great. I know our Josh is only in 3rd grade, but I don't know how you guys did it. Put him through school and all?
We invested with T. Rowe Price.
Really?
Yeah, and they helped us figure out how much to put away. They've got this college planning kit.
On my way to my mom's anyway.
Hey, thanks.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 60 years.
You know, you just don't seem yourself today.
Everyone gets congested. That stuffy feeling where your nose takes over. But now there's a whole new way to deliver relief. New Afrin No Drip Nasal Spray. Ordinary nasal sprays drip down your throat. Afrin No Drip targets nasal congestion and stays there for fast, powerful relief.
And we're back.
New Afrin No Drip.
Hey, you know, you look a lot better. Feel a lot better.
Another breakthrough in breathing from Afrin.
You have 17 voicemail messages. Congratulations. You've been born into the information age. So you can be guaranteed that all kinds of useless yada and endless blah-bitty-blah will be constantly hurled at you from every direction. Unless you get lucky once you learn to read, and someone gives you a lifetime subscription to USA Today. USA Today. Not the most words, just the right ones.
Jerusalem is another city anticipating a flood of New Year's Eve visitors. They'll be mingling with thousands of police who'll be taking orders from someone other than their chief. Today, he announced he's taking a leave of absence immediately. Apparently, it has nothing to do with Y2K fears, but rather allegations of impropriety. So is the city where tradition holds Jesus was crucified and buried ready for the new millennium? CNN's Gerald Kessel joins us now from his vantage point on the Mount of Olives. Gerald.
Wolf, in a very real way, this can be seen as the theological center of the millennium. Behind me, Jerusalem's old city, the spiritual focus of the 3 great monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now, many Jews and Muslims will be partying along with the millennium festivities, but in a spiritual sense, in a theological sense, it's a question rather of keeping an arm's distance from what is seen basically as a Christian celebration. Still, it is recognized as a milestone moment, and that is its relevance is captured in these sights and voices as compiled by CNN's Michael Schwartz and Amnon Perry.
We know that time has no meaning for God, but in the human conception, time plays a very important role. 1,000 years in front of the eyes of our Lord is like the day of yesterday that already passed. We see the big figures, the big numbers, 1,000 years or 2,000 years as a great occasion to celebrate.
The Pope would like to give a sign of hope, of a kind of security. There is nothing terrible which is going to happen.
The attitude to the fact that we are now celebrating the Jubilee 2000 of the coming of Christ is, I think, shared in equal measure by all. Time is right across, a line going, a vertical line going through the horizontal timeline, before Christ, after Christ, BC, AD.
I continue to pray and continue to wish that our celebration will be a celebration of a new chapter of relationships where peace is established on truth and on justice. That will be the celebration of celebrations.
Here on the Mount of Olives, a critical place, because all 3 religions have an end of days philosophy, an apocalyptic vision, each in their own way, no more so than for Christianity, especially here from the Mount of Olives. This is the place where Jesus made his entry, is said to have made his entry into Jerusalem in the last week of his ministry, from where he was taken for trial and crucifixion and the resurrection, from where he is said to have gone to heaven, and from where to where he has said he will return, the Messiah will return. And that is why Israeli police will be out mingling in the streets of Jerusalem tomorrow evening, on the watch not only for political terrorism, that too, but above all for those who believe in the Christian philosophy and in other religions. That is a time perhaps when the millennium moment needs to be brought to bear with the apocalypse conception, forcing those fanatics of any religion who might seek, in one might put it, to force God's hand to make it a question of apocalypse now. Gerald Kessel reporting live from Jerusalem.
Gerald, thank you. Now we move on to Russia's capital, where celebrations are expected to include everything from the traditional to the unique. It's just after 6 in the morning there on the second to the last day of the century. Is Russia ready? CNN's Eileen O'Connor, our former Moscow bureau chief, is back there to ring in the new year. Eileen, hello.
Hello, Darren. Well, the Russians are ready, as always, to have a great party at New Year's. And that will start at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, midnight, of course, here. And it will be signaled by the striking of the clock at Spassky Tower on the Kremlin. Now, the Kremlin has always been the traditional center of power and Russian mystery in this millennium. It was built, actually, the first structures at the beginning of this millennium in the 12th century. So it's very fitting that it again will be at the center of these kinds of celebrations. 7,000 invited guests to Red Square. There's also going to be a huge ball at the Bolshoi. They've even taken out all the seats of the theater. Anyone who is anyone will be at these two celebrations. And of course, Boris Yeltsin will be giving his traditional New Year's greetings from the Kremlin. He's already prefaced those remarks by talking about how significant this new millennium will be for this new Russia. Russia, as you know, has been under communism for much of this last century, and Russians are looking forward with great expectations and great hope to this new millennium. And of course, Darren, we will be checking in on Y2K preparations. There is also a nuclear weapons command center here outside of Moscow that the Russians are manning, especially for this time. Nuclear power plants have been prepared. $10 million has been spent by the nuclear industry. Some of anything that they couldn't be sure of, they say, they have taken offline, many research reactors, and they're also going to be using manual overrides for many, many programs. Also, Aeroflot, the airlines here, have said they're prepared, utilities, but we will be checking in with them all night to report any Y2K glitches. Darren?
Eileen, what about the average Russian? Are they concerned about any Y2K problems like we've heard Americans hoarding water and food?
No, you know, they're not. In fact, polls here indicate that half the people in Russia didn't even know that there was a Y2K problem, didn't know anything about it. And in addition, you know, Russians are very philosophical. They're also a little conspiracy theorists. Many of them say that this could be a conspiracy from the West to make money for computer companies. But others are also saying, look, you know, we're Russians, and a lot of times because of economic crisis or shortages during times of war and other times, we've often had to go without water, electricity, telephone, heat, and we're used to it. We're used to going out with some of these basics. As one villager said to us outside of Moscow, you know, if we don't have electricity, we'll light a candle. If we don't have heat, we'll just burn the forest next door. And as one Siberian official said it, it's you Americans who will panic. For us Russians, it's just life. Darren?
Eileen O'Connor in Moscow, where it's already Thursday morning. Wolf.
Thanks, Darren. And we'll be back to our correspondents around the world later in NewsStand. But first, Wall Street continues to sizzle. Stock prices are hotter than ever. Susan Lasovich is in New York with our Moneyline update. Susan?
Wolf, call it a record close, a new milestone, a huge one-year performance, and you'd be correct on all counts. Details on the mighty NASDAQ and the market roundup next on the Moneyline update.
Getting those urban cowboys on horses was trying enough. And you throw in some serious chili, we're talking major heartburn. And we were way out there, and this cowboy, he pulls this Zantac 75 out of his saddlebag. I said, what are you, a Zantac salesman? He said, no, I'm a doctor.
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
Hats off to you, Doc.
Zantac 75 for tough heartburn. Doctors know.
It was just last month when the NASDAQ hit the 3,000 milestone. Well, after today's landmark trading session, 3,000 just doesn't have the zing it once did. The tech-heavy index ended above the 4,000 mark for the first time ever, climbing 69 points to 4041. For the year, the NASDAQ is up 84%, making it the best year for any stock index in U.S. history. Drama over on the big board. Also, the Dow Jones Industrials closed up just 8 points, but that was enough for a record level of its own. The blue chips ending trading at 11,484. And in the bond market, the 30-year Treasury index gaining 12 ticks, the yield at 6.43%. The NASDAQ characteristically rode the express lane to its newest pinnacle. The index first broke through the 1,000 level in July of 1995 and took 3 more years to hit 2,000. From there on, it's all a blur. After a handful of close calls and with only 1.5 trading days left in the century, Wall Street's best-performing index delivered yet another holiday gift to investors. The NASDAQ Composite Index closed above the 4,000 mark, just 38 trading days after reaching 3,000. Hot technology stocks like Qualcomm, DoubleClick, and E-Trade propelled NASDAQ to its 61st record of the year. NASDAQ's best year ever now pushes the index up 84% so far in 1999.
It's been a remarkable run. Started actually about in October. It's kept going very strongly. It's been a number of stocks. It hasn't just been the big stocks.
But NASDAQ's 5 big caps, Microsoft, Intel, Dell, MCI WorldCom, and Cisco, do account for more than a third of NASDAQ's market cap. And total market cap for the NASDAQ has surged by 35% to just over $5 trillion since the index broke through 3,000. Other factors contributing to the NASDAQ's big gains: the hot streak in telecom companies, up 33% since November 3rd, computers advancing 39%, and biotech companies surging 51%. The buying binge fueled by strong earnings growth and positive forecasts. But analysts say investors' obsession with tech stocks now may set the stage for a sell-off.
If it doesn't broaden, then I think the market may fall into some kind of a corrective phase in the early months of 2000, where we may take some of the profits out of these technology stocks, deflate the enthusiasm at least a little bit, and then set the stage for a better advance with maybe some added or new leadership as we get to the spring and the summer.
A growing chorus of market observers echoes that view that if the market's advance does broaden, it will inevitably slow the NASDAQ's breathtaking pace. One of the supporting players in the NASDAQ's stellar performance, Qualcomm. Shares rocketed 31% after Payne Weber set a $1,000 target price for the wireless company. Shares of Qualcomm zoomed $156 to $659. That's a gain of 2,500% on the year. That means if you bought $1,000 worth of Qualcomm stock on January 4th, your investment would be worth $25,000 today. And that's it for the Moneyline Update. Watch In the Money tomorrow on CNN, where Terry Keenan, Bill Tucker, and Darren Kagan will reveal the #1 stock of the decade. That's tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. And join Moneyline for a special edition, First Trade 2000, with live reports from overseas markets as we kick off the new year. That's Sunday night at 10, right here on CNN. Now back to Wolf Blitzer in Washington.
Thanks, Susan. Coming up, a live report from a city that has more to celebrate than just the new millennium. We'll take you to Sydney, Australia, home of the Y2K Summer Olympics, when CNN NewsStand returns.
Weeknights at 11. It's a fun, fast-paced, and smarter approach to sports news. Join Fred and Vince on Sports Tonight. Weeknights at 11 on CNN.
How do you beat American Home Furniture's guaranteed low prices? The American Home Millennium and Clearance Sale.
Right now, at both American Home locations in Tualatin and Delta Park, everything is on sale at the lowest prices in our history.
We've marked everything down, some items up to 50% below our already guaranteed low prices. You'll find incredible prices on name brands like Lane, Stanton, Broyhill, Eddie Bauer, Rose, Sealy, Lexington, and more.
Don't miss this once-in-a-millennium opportunity at both American Home locations in Tualatin and Delta Park.
Get fit with the Awesome Hour Upper Body Home Workout, the new video from the creators of the best-selling Fitness Made Simple program. Work out with fitness celebrity John Bastow at home and learn the keys to sculpting a lean, muscular physique.
The Awesome Hour Upper Body Home Workout provides exercises to help build your chest, back, shoulders, biceps, triceps, and even abs.
Just 1 hour or less for each workout. Now there's no time excuse for not staying in shape. Have your credit card ready and call now to order.
100 hours of Millennium 2000, only on CNN.
And welcome back to NewsStand. Tonight we're taking a trip around the world as CNN prepares to ring in the new year from 25 time zones. In a moment, we'll talk with our correspondents in Hong Kong, Sydney, Australia, and Mexico City. First, though, a few news notes. Hijackers of an Indian Airlines plane have dropped two of their demands, a ransom of $200 million and the return of a Kashmir fighter's body. But they still want India to release Masood Azhar, a leader in the fight for free Kashmir, and 35 other Kashmiri militants. The plane has 155 hostages aboard. It remains on the ground in Afghanistan. In the U.S., federal aviation investigators say about 70% of the wreckage from Egypt Air Flight 990 has been recovered. They're still looking for a cause of the crash, which happened on October 31st. It killed all 217 people on board. So far, they say, evidence indicates the engines had been shut off. In the Austrian Alps, a massive avalanche has killed 9 German tourists. 4 others were swept up by the fast-moving snow, but they survived. A rescue helicopter evacuated them today, as well as 40 other people who were stranded in a nearby resort. And Tipper Gore is back home and resting comfortably after a night in a Baltimore, Maryland hospital. The wife of the vice president underwent surgery yesterday to remove a nodule from her thyroid. Doctors say test results are expected back in about a week.
Now back to our sneak preview of the Millennium 2000 celebrations. Our next stop, a Chinese city, which until 3 years ago was a British colony. Hong Kong will ring in the new year 13 hours before we will here in Washington. How will that city be celebrating? Let's go to CNN's Karuna Shinsho in Hong Kong. Karuna.
Wolf, it's about a little past 11:30 in the morning Hong Kong time, and as you can see, the weather is great, and it's expected to be good tomorrow, New Year's Eve. I'm standing across the harbor from the famous Hong Kong skyline. Of course, in 36 hours' time, it'll be a very different view. A lot of the buildings will have choreographed light displays to usher in the new year. Now, there will be many events held across Hong Kong, but the official event will be at the Happy Valley Race Course. Many international stars, including Jackie Chan, Chow Yun-fat, Michelle Yeoh, and soprano star Sarah Brightman, will help Hong Kong Chief Executive Tung Chee-hwa usher in the new year. 45 minutes into the new year, there will be the Millennium Cup race. Now, it's interesting to note that there'll be about 20,000 people at that event, but on the streets, police officers are expecting about 1 million people. There'll be about 5,000 police officers on the streets with them to make sure that things will go smoothly. Now, it's also interesting to note that for the Chinese, the new year does not start on January 1st. It actually starts on February 5th, according to the lunar calendar. And it won't be the year 2000, it will be the year 4697. Now, the Chinese also name each year after an animal. This year was the year of the rabbit. Next year will be the year of the dragon. Now, in the West, the dragon is often perceived as an evil creature that has to be slain by knights, but to the Chinese, it's really a symbol of good fortune, prowess, and nobility, and it was a symbol of the emperor in China in ancient times. So a lot of people here in Hong Kong are hoping that next year will be a year of good fortune. Wolf?
Karuna, Hong Kong is a very high-tech city, as you know, obviously. How much concern is there about the Y2K computer bug in Hong Kong?
Well, the Hong Kong government has been preparing for likely problems, if not for months, for years. They say that virtually all the sectors, including banking, utilities, transportation, are Y2K compliant, and that they do have contingency plans in place. The local electric company says they have extra generators on standby. The water company says that they have about 3 months' worth of water supply if something goes wrong. The airport here also says that they won't allow airplanes that are not Y2K compliant to fly in and out during the rollover period, December 31st to January 1st. So a lot of analysts that we spoke to here say that Hong Kong is, if not the most prepared city for Y2K in the world, at least it is the most prepared here in Asia. Wolf.
Okay, Karuna Shinsho in Hong Kong, thanks for joining us. Back here in the Americas now, to Mexico City, founded in 1325. People there are planning a fiesta in the city's main square, the largest open square in Latin America. Our Millennium Man in Mexico City is Harris Whitback. Harris?
Wolf, as you said, organizers in Mexico are putting the final touches on what they are billing as one of the largest millennial celebrations in Latin America. Last night and tonight, workers at the Zócalo, which is the largest, one of the three largest main squares, public squares in the world after Tiananmen in Beijing and Red Square in Moscow. Workers there have been setting up stages where performers will entertain up to 200,000 people. Mexican President Ernesto Zedillo visited the site of that celebration last night to make sure that everything was in order. The theme of the celebration in Mexico City will be identity, union, and hope. Now, in one of Mexico's most famous beach resorts, Acapulco, the celebration will be a lot lighter. Organizers there are saying it's just going to be one big party. Yesterday and this morning, the owners of about 60 yachts were putting the final touches on their boats, decorating them, cleaning them up for a aquatic parade that will take place on the evening of the 31st. 4 big stages have been set up near the beach in Acapulco, where about 50 of Mexico's biggest names in entertainment will be singing and dancing for about 1.5 million partiers. And Wolf, CNN, of course, will be bringing both those celebrations to you all on New Year's Eve. Wolf?
Eris Whitbeck in Mexico City, thanks for joining us. For a complete guide to CNN's coverage of New Year's Eve and the start of Millennium 2000, look in tomorrow's USA Today newspaper. There's an hour-by-hour rundown listing every location we'll be seeing in the new year. And be sure to pick up Friday's USA Today for another guide you'll want to keep handy. It tells you what time we'll take up all of our special topics. And if you're like us and just can't wait, head for your computer and click onto our website, CNN.com. You'll find the guides ready for downloading and printing.
Still ahead, traveling abroad in the new year?
You're apt to get a much better deal on exchange rates if you use your credit card or local ATMs.
Tips from Money Magazine when NewsStand continues.
Sir, your finest table? Reservation. Perhaps you'll find it under Washington. George Washington? Sir, that's only $1. Only $1. Don't you know that with 10, 10, 220, all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents, and just 7 cents a minute after that. Plus, there's no monthly fee. Great rates and no monthly fee? All day, every day. Oh. Walk this way.
Dial 1010 220.
Ever since man learned to communicate, there's been the need to learn how to cut to the chase. USA Today. Not the most words, just the right ones.
Okay, so you say you're staying home for the millennium, but once everything settles down, you may have some vacation time and some money to burn. So perhaps you're looking for an exotic and unusual getaway. From the pages of Money Magazine, writer Sarah Rose has a point that you might not have considered. When compared to the dollar, the value of other countries' currency can create some interesting travel bargains.
Although Asia and a lot of other global economies are recovering from the meltdown in 1998, there are still a lot of foreign destinations where our strong dollar means travel bargains. Right now, a ski trip in Canada, for example, is about 30% cheaper than a ski trip in Colorado. A room in a first-class hotel in Thailand is about $100 a night. A meal in Australia is about 35% cheaper than one in America. One thing you need to remember is that a weak currency does not always translate into a bargain. In countries where there's a shortage of first-class hotels, such as most of Africa, you're going to pay a lot for lodging even after the currency discount. Flights departing from the U.S. are usually not affected by currency fluctuations. So when you're planning a trip, you really do need to take into consideration the cost of airfare. Even if a currency is historically weak, if the flights getting there are historically high, you have no bargain. You're not always going to get the same kind of discounts if you go through a tour operator. They've gotten very savvy about playing the currency. You need to make sure that your travel budget can withstand currency swings. So before you make any plans, ask yourself, could I be going on this trip if it weren't for the currency discount? If the answer is no, then reconsider. My advice is to leave the traveler's checks at home. You're apt to get a much better deal on exchange rates if you use your credit card or local ATMs. One final tip is to visit oanda.com. This website has exchange rates on just about any currency you can think of. It has historical information, and it has software that you can download to your Palm Pilot.
Up next, our roundtable on the higher calling.
Organized religion can be a dangerous thing.
It can be.
It can be.
Religion in the New Millennium, when NewsStand returns.
Past weekend Super Lottery.
At ZDNet, we'll help you get more out of technology.
Mars. Hey, Mars. Mars.
ZDNet.com, where technology takes you.
Rule.
Millennium 2000, New Year's Eve on CNN.
Weeknights at 11, your best choice for sports news is Sports Tonight. With Fred Hickman and Vince Cellini, it's a fun, fast-paced, and smarter approach to sports news. Together with the insiders at Sports Illustrated, Fred and Vince deliver all the day's sports news and highlights in just a half hour. Join Fred and Vince on Sports Tonight, weeknights at 11 on CNN.
Think you know football? Win cash prizes by beating our experts and match your picks against celebrities like Heidi Klum.
Do you make your football picks every week? I do, on CNNSI.com.
The best fantasy football on the web.
All step for man.
High roads of the future.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We always think that the end of the year is important. It's almost as if we look back, and revise, what we did right and what we did wrong.
I think the more striking thing is it's really forcing people to take a step back and rethink who they are and what their role is in the world and how their company or their country or their family fits.
It's like an anniversary. It's like a silver wedding or a golden wedding. It's an opportunity for everybody to weigh up, to stop for a minute, to weigh up, if they can afford to weigh up what has gone before, to make new resolutions on, not just on an individual level, but on a social level.
I think my first piece of advice would be say, don't take it so seriously. I mean, if you want to take it seriously because it's fun for you, great, but it's a change in the calendar, and it's artificial. And while it's exciting to say it's a new century, the truth of the matter isn't going to bring you any sudden new problem, and isn't going to give you any sudden new opportunity. You are going to create the problem, or you're going to create the opportunity.
It's a very subjective decision to call it a millennium. It could be any date, because nobody actually verified that it started at this date, in this place. So I think there's plenty of things to learn.
It makes people stop for a moment and say, gee, we've been around for a long time. Maybe it's time to do something different.
This Voices of the Millennium is brought to you by Zales, the Diamond Store. Forever starts today with a diamond from Zales.
There's a very special ring at Zales this year, with the Millennium set in diamonds inside the band. It's an exquisite half-carat diamond solitaire in 18-karat gold for a special price of only $19.99. Think of it. Just as the Millennium is turning, you'll have the power to make time stand still. Exclusively at Zales stores or shop online at Zales.com.
Around 1920, New York's Algonquin Hotel became a gathering place for the city's sharpest writers and wits who traded opinions over drinks and dinner. The regulars were known as the Algonquin Roundtable. A few weeks ago, I was part of a new roundtable at the hotel discussing Millennium 2000. Tonight, the part of our conversation that dealt with religion. We're back at the Algonquin Hotel here in New York for our historic roundtable discussion, our end of the Millennium roundtable discussion with Robert Hormats. He's the vice chairman of Goldman Sachs International. Janine Garofalo, the actor and comic, the Reverend Calvin Butts of the Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem, and Dr. Bernadine Healy, the president and CEO of the American Red Cross. Let's move on and expand this discussion and talk a little bit about religion, organized religion, something that Reverend Butts certainly represents. Has it been and will it be a positive force as we move into the next millennium? Or is it a disruptive, negative force?
If you are an enlightened, intelligent person who is also a person of faith, that's a fine thing. If you are a religious zealot and who is closed-minded and believes that your way is the only way, that's a very negative thing. I find that, well, obviously everyone finds that religion is a very divisive issue, internationally and domestically, because people refuse to, a lot of people refuse to open their mind to other religions, other ways of life, other modes of living. And that's where it's dangerous. There's nothing wrong with organized religion if you are an open-minded person and an intelligent person and you use your faith in a productive way and in a loving way. There's everything wrong with it if you say homosexuals are to be bastardized, to be killed, that Jews are bad.
Well, nobody's saying, as far as I know, that homosexuals should be killed. But they are saying...
Nobody's saying that?
I don't think, except for maybe a
Not
very, very tiny fringe element out there. But what people are saying, and Reverend Butts, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is as a religious, as a minister, you have a hard time accepting a marriage between two men or
But he says it in a very enlightened way. He's being very open-minded about it and willing to have a dialogue about it. He is the exception, not the rule, unfortunately, as far as I know.
Organized religion can be a dangerous thing.
It can be.
It can be.
I mean, a lot of people have died in the name of organized religion.
That's right, in the name of God. It can be a very dangerous thing. And I think that the statement made just a moment ago is absolutely right. I think that, once again, we're dealing with education. Like, we can't escape it. The more we know about religion, the more we know about religious history, the more we understand about the unfolding of it, and the enlightened leaders of it. I mean, you can take, and I will use a name like Martin Luther King Jr., as one of the clearest and most progressive religious thinkers, and one who stood on the shoulders of organized religion to move the world forward. Or I could use Gandhi in another sense. So I just think that where religion is concerned, it is going to call for more clear thinking, progressive religious minds that have come out of our best institutions and will continue to come out.
Mr. Hormats, will religion become more important or less important in the years to come?
I think in the current environment of globalization, people are looking for roots, they're looking for values, they're looking for a greater sense of community, and I think religion plays an important part in that process. People don't want to be homogenized in a global world.
As long as humans inhabited this earth, all recorded time, there has been a fundamental spirituality within the core of humans and the way they interacted with each other. And even many people who are not part of organized religion have a fervent spirituality. And I can tell you, as a doctor, when you interact with patients at some of the most desperate times in their lives, the miracle of birth, the piousness of someone leaving this world, you see faith. You see faith in their eyes. You see faith in their families. Whether it's Jewish or Christian, whether it's Muslim, I mean, it's irrelevant. It is something in the human spirit, and I don't think you can stamp it out. Now, sometimes when that ideology becomes so biased or fervent, and it's used for bad,
if it's used to destroy other faiths, if it's used to attack other people, well then I think it is spirituality gone awry. But I don't think you can for a moment attack the fundamental core spirituality in the human being.
Tomorrow, the end of our Algonquin Roundtable discussion, World Affairs, and a look ahead to Y3K.
A lot of people taking it easy this holiday week, but you can't say that about the sports world, which is in high gear. Let's check in with Vince Cellini from CNN Sports Illustrated. Hi, Vince.
Darren, as you well know, we never rest in sports down here. Coming up on Sports Tonight, what's Y2K bugging the Hawks' Isaiah Ryder? He let his teammates have it after a brutal loss to the Pacers this afternoon at home. Things are testy in Dallas, where the Cowboys are on alert against their owner, Jerry Jones. Pitcher Kenny Rogers signs the big money and signs up to go back to his old stomping grounds. Plus, It Happens is cake decorating. The birthday boy is jumping right in. Sports Tonight at the top of the hour.
All right, Vince, thanks. I heard those Isaiah Ryder comments. Hopefully there'll be something to play after all the beeping is in there.
Yeah, several beeps in there.
Yes.
Word or two.
Multi-beep soundbite. Thank you, Vince. Sure. Well, we told you about going to Sydney, Australia. We've been using tonight, and we'll use tomorrow night to get all the kinks out of our live shots for all of our Millennium coverage. Didn't quite get Sydney down tonight. We will have it for you in time to see the Millennium ring in Sydney. This is a big year for that town, not only the Millennium, but also they'll be holding the Summer Olympics later in September of 2000, and so we'll have more on that. We'll also be previewing more of CNN's coverage of the Millennium celebrations from the pyramids of Egypt tomorrow night on CNN Newsstand.
We'll also be getting live previews of the celebrations to come in Rio de Janeiro and Las Vegas. And we'll be back at the U.S. military's command post in Colorado. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern. From Washington, I'm Wolf Blitzer.
And from Atlanta, I'm Darren Kagan. Good night from the Newsstand.
Beginning in 2 days, 100 hours of non-stop around-the-world coverage. Millennium 2000, only on CNN.
An opportunity like this doesn't come often. Plymouth's year-end event. There's $12.50 cash allowance or 1.9% APR on the 2000 Voyager, America's lowest-priced minivan. Or 1,000 cash allowance on the new 2000 Neon. This opportunity will come and go.
Now, Daimler Chrysler will pay your excise tax on any new Chrysler or Plymouth vehicle.
Hey, is that your brother?
Want to change your body? Gold's Gym.
If you could change the way you buy a car right now, would you do it? Well, you don't have to, because we've already done it for you. Over 300,000 new and used vehicles in one place. Shop by make, model, year, and dealer, and never shop the old-fashioned way again. AutomallUSA.com.
Major cleaning, damage control. The furnace repair people left grease all over my carpet. Should have called the Reen Team. Who? Reen Team, heating service pros. Put floor protectors over their shoes when they arrive and did a great job at a fair price. You're kidding.